Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Entitled Parents. Story 1. Near death because of inconvenience. I'll try to make this short. Me he slash they. Mother, she slash her. Brother, he slash him. Father, he slash him. Edit. I am currently a minor and so I am still in contact with these people. When I was around 7 or so I was annoying, acting like a kid. I am scared of the dark and have autophobia, so a common punishment for me was that I was to sleep in a room alone without my mother. I used to cling on to her all the time. Every time I got this punishment I'd either not sleep for hours or go bang on my parents' door if I worked up enough courage to run down our old creepy hallway. One day I was punished, don't remember for what, and told I had to sleep alone in my room while everyone else slept in the other room. I didn't care until night fell, then I got really scared and anxious, so I went to go to my parents, knocking on their door to get my mother to comfort me. They yelled at me and I was probably flickering the lights or pulling on my mother's leg to try and get her out of bed, but my father soon had enough. He broke out of the room, pissed off, and started choking me. My mother had to beg him to let me go as I was desperately kicking and clawing at the hands around my neck, trying to get air. It was about a minute or so before he let go and my mother went with me to sleep in my room, scolding me about annoying my father as I could have gotten myself killed. This has happened around 2 to 5 times during my childhood, and so I consider my father worse than, or no, equal to my mother in terms of terribleness. Maybe I was in the wrong here, but I highly doubt it, as I was just a typical annoying kid, in my eyes at least. Story 2. Parents overstepping. I'm 28. I've lived on my own for 2 years. Just last month I moved in with my boyfriend. My parents have always hated me not living with them. When I moved out a few years ago, my dad told me to stay at their house because I wasn't ready to live on my own. When I had to move suddenly last month, they were the only people who could have helped me move. My parents suggested a few times that instead of living with my boyfriend I could go live rent-free in their house. The thing of it is, I loathed that house. I love my mom always and I love my dad now, but he was abusive growing up mentally and sometimes physically. That house is so full of terrible memories, I cannot live there. Also, I'm a firefighter, so I have to live somewhat close to the station to be able to respond to calls. I don't know why they're always like this. Does anyone else have a similar problem? Story 3. Mom lies, exaggerates just to scapegoat me. This is something she does all of the time. It's literally the biggest reason why my relationship with my mother is pretty much superficial. This morning my mom was complaining that there was trash all over the floor. There was one bottle cap on floor that I overlooked. She went on to whine about how exhausting I am and about how every day he finds a new way to stress me out. I don't think there is a single grown man that lives here. Why does she have to act like I'm such a horrible person for something this petty? She's the same person who will let the dishes pile up for weeks before washing. But if I were to forget to wash my dishes, she'd be sure to dig into me about it. Even though she paints herself as a victim, it seems like she just enjoys putting other people down, but unfortunately I'm the only one who sees that side of her. Story 4. I was following your instructions. So a few years ago I posted 2 stories of things that happened to me in my old job at a grocery store. I promised to post more, but 2.5 years ago I quit and I kinda just wanted to distance myself from that place, but a friend of mine was talking to me the other day and a few stories came up and I felt like it's time to tell them. Also, this is a different kind of entitled parent, you'll see what I mean. So while working retail you interact with a bunch of different kinds of people. It really gives you a view for the world around you. One of the kinds of people who came into my store were the mentally handicapped. Now there were quite a few who were regulars and we got to know them really well. One was a girl we'll call Kay. Now Kay took a liking to me because one of the first time she came in she was wearing a Yu-Gi-Oh shirt. Now the way I worked was if I saw someone who had a t-shirt of something I had even a remote knowledge of, I'd talk to them a bit about it. It showed I actually cared about them as a person, which in turn kept them coming back to me. Kay was a sweetheart who was always shy and nervous around people but would light up the moment you talked to her. Her mother on the other hand was the definition of entitled. She'd expect to get last week's sales days after they ended, wanted free reusable bags that cost $2 and always had a list of weird directions that changed every time she came in. This incident was no different. So on this day she came through my line as Kay had seen me. I talked to Kay for a min while packing the groceries when her mother shouted a bunch of directions at me. All but one of which are unimportant to the story, but they were things like don't put the steak with the ground beef and don't put the soup with the canned vegetable. Kinda weird, but I don't get paid to give a damn, so I just did what was said. The last of these was to put the eggs between the part of the cart where you'd put a child and the handlebars. Now I know this space is too wide on our carts, but when I tried to tell her that I was responded with "You're here to entertain my kids and do as I say," so I just thought screw it, not my job if things go wrong. I finish up her order and continue to talk to Kay as M pays for her stuff and they leave. Not 45 seconds later I hear the sound of a carton of eggs hit the ground and I see M come storming up to me. "M, my eggs fell 'cause you didn't put them in correct." "Me, I put them in the way you instructed me to." "M, no, had you listened to me they wouldn't have fell." "Me, I checked with you after I did it to make sure it was how you wanted it." "M, I'm telling you you didn't do it correctly. I do this at a different store, and it never falls." "Cashier, their carts are smaller than ours." "M, don't lie to me, I know what I'm talking about." At this point Kay is getting visibly upset and I'm about done with the mom, so I go to make sure Kay's okay. "Me, Kay, you okay?" Kay just kept repeating "don't be mad" over and over, to this day kinda breaks my heart a bit. "M, don't bother with her, she'll be fine, now go get me my eggs." "Me, we sent another bagger to get your eggs the moment we heard yours fall, they'll be here in a second." This was true. "M, I need a manager." Little did either me or the M know a manager was already been called by the cashier as I continue to calm down Kay, ensuring her I wasn't mad. Now comes the part that still kinda pisses me off. My manager gets here and even though I only had one store manager I ever liked, most of them knew me better than to think I didn't know my job. This lady proceeds to go off about how I'm a terrible employee and that I spent more time talking to her stupid fucking daughter than to do my job correctly. Now mock me all you want, I'm cool with it, better people have called me worse, but to have that level of disrespect to your own child boils my blood. And both my manager and cashier sees me getting upset and both know why. The cashier steps in and says, "Cashier, you told him to put your eggs like that." "M, well, he didn't warn me." Cashier next to our register, "Yes he did, he's not a quiet guy, I heard him warn you." This goes back and forth for a good 5 minutes and the whole time Kay is freaking out as I'm trying to calm her down, and her mother is so in her own head that she doesn't even have the least bit of concern for her own child. The other bagger gets back somewhere in the middle of them all arguing with the eggs and I've completely checked out from the argument as I'm more concerned with Kay, but I see her grab her eggs and walk out of the store, while I'm still sitting next to Kay. "Me, I'm manager, WTF are we supposed to do?" Manager realizing I'm still sitting with M's daughter, "Oh fuck." Me, "Yeah, we've dealt with Code Adams before but never like this." Manager, "She left the parking lot already, hasn't she?" Me, "Yup." Manager, "Take her to the conference room and sit with her till her mom gets back." Now I had 2 hours till I was going home and the conference room had water, so we went and sat in the back. It took 3.5 hours till she realized she left her child in the store and came and got her. All in all I got 3.5 hours off my feet and a nice amount of overtime. Every time after that when they came in, Kay always asked if I was mad at her and I'd tell her no, even though it broke me a little for her to think I did, and her mom never gave me instructions again and couldn't look me in the eyes. I saw her once since I quit while I was shopping with my fiancé in a different store and I gave her a hug and promised her I was never upset with her. Story 5. Steal my identity, I guess. Let me start with a TLDR. The entitled parent is my own mother and she used my identity to open a bank account to hide funds from the IRS. Imagine a boomer, albeit a younger one, crossed with a mega Karen. A narcissist of the first order. When I was 15 or so, my mother opened a bank account at her credit union in my name, made herself a joint on said account. I had no idea this existed. I was 15, I didn't even have a driver's license or a job. In my 20s, an out-of-work college dropout, as I couldn't get financial aid due to her making too much money, I got a very angrily worded letter from the IRS about unpaid taxes. About how cash appeared in my account and was transferred to another account after taxes should have been applied. My out-of-work brain was like what money? Q. Months of phone calls and letters, eventually ending with "you're committing a crime." And me sobbing on the phone with the IRS going, "I have no idea what's going on." Spoiler alert, my mother was using the account to try to dodge taxes. And it worked when I was a minor. But at 20, Uncle Sam wanted his cut. It was months of phone calls and letters, all fielded while Mom was still at work. 'Cause I was a college dropout and not in school or employed, so I was home to answer them. I was aggressively applying for any job within driving distance for a busted-up '96 Ford Explorer, which got 10 mpg on a good day. Eventually, I got elevated to an IRS agent high up enough in the hierarchy to give me a straight answer. There was a bank account in my name, with my mother as joint on the account, who knew my SSN, DOB, her maiden name, the name of my first pet and the name of the street I grew up on, 'cause yet, she should know those things. She's my mother. I told the IRS, do whatever you need to do to close this account, and here's my mother's contact info. She has no idea to this day how the IRS found out her scam, and I will take that secret to the grave. Think 15k or so that she owed in back taxes. That she begrudgingly paid. Out of her nest egg that she had been building up. In my name. EFFU, Karen. I don't care if I'm written out of the will. Not that she even knows what Reddit is, but hey, miracles happen. Story 6. My entitled aunt and uncle left me and my cousins alone in a public place. So I was 12 at the time, 13 since a month ago, and my triplet cousins were 11. There were 3 families. 1 my entitled aunt, 2 my cooler aunt and 3 my parents. We were in a lake an hour from home when my parents and cooler aunt went on our boat and was there for a bit when entitled aunt had the bright idea of leaving kids alone because I'm hungry and want to go to the mall. And my hunger is more important than kids. Needless to say, my parents were mad when they saw us run to the dock, 1 to 200 yards away, and explain what happened while they rush back to shore. Sorry if you wanted a happy ending, but no justice, sadly. If anyone has advice, then please share it. I'm the. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.